Good morning. Happy January. Oh, what is today? I have no idea. Hold on. I can find out. I know what day it is. It is January 17th. Yeah, January 17th, 2024. So it's Friday. Um, so I'm reading Isaiah. Sorry. I just finished reading Isaiah chapter 1, and this is the second time I've read it this week, and my heart just breaks. Breaks. Isaiah chapter 1, to me, and you have to, I don't know, I've learned to read the Bible with my heart now, not just with my thoughts, like comprehension, but to actually feel what is being said by the Lord. And Isaiah chapter 1, to me, it's about a husband, our heavenly husband, who has no longer finds delight in his bride. And it's gripping. It's very gripping for me how let's just read it real quick. It would take just a minute or so. Isaiah chapter 1, the vision of Isaiah, the son of Amos, which he saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem in the days of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, kings of Judah. Hear, O heavens, and give ear, O earth, for the Lord hath spoken. I have nourished and brought up children, and they have rebelled against me. The ox knows his owner, and the donkey his master's crib, but Israel does not know. My people do not consider. Sinful nation, a people laden with iniquity, a seed of evildoers, children that are corrupters. They have forsaken the Lord. They have provoked the Holy One to anger, of Israel to anger. They are gone away backwards. Okay, so he's talking about the children, which is to me family structure. You have a husband, and his children are, well, the word said it all. They're corrupters and full of iniquity and just not good children. Okay. Um, why would you be stricken anymore? You will revolt more and more. The whole head is sick and the whole heart faint. From the sole of the foot even into the head, there is no soundness in it, but wounds, bruises, putrefying sores that have not been closed, neither bound up, neither mollified with ointment. Basically stating that, discipline's not working. Any of you parents out there that have that child, that no matter what you do, it just makes it worse. You try to correct them, you try to discipline them, you try your best to correct them and bring them into a better understanding of their actions and what they're doing wrong, but they just won't listen. They keep rebelling, they keep sneaking out, they keep breaking the rules of the house, and they don't care. So we're in here. This is where we find those children in the scriptures. Okay. And then verse 7, your country's desolate, your cities are burned with fire, your land, strangers devour it in your presence, and it is desolate as overthrown by strangers. Um, the land is no longer workable. It's no longer like a garden. You have to have good ground to build things on, to plant seeds in, or the seeds will die and you just won't have anything grow in it. So this land is being burnt with fire, meaning that it's all a waste. It's a wasteland. It's desolate. There's kind of like what California is right now, just full of flames and desolate, and you have strangers coming in and trying to put the fires out, but it's a ruin. It's a waste. It's a wasteland. And then verse 8, and the daughter of Zion is left as a cottage in a vineyard, as a lodge and a garden of cucumbers as a besieged city. When I was reading this, I was like, what do you mean by a garden of cucumbers? I used to have a garden and I grew cucumbers. And if anybody knows this, cucumbers has a lot of vines, very viney. And then I came to understand that it's unrecognizable. The daughter of Zion is unrecognizable. She's so like overrun by vines that you can't even recognize her. And then verse 9, except the Lord of hosts had left us a very small remnant, we should have been as Sodom and we should have been like unto Gomorrah, meaning that if he didn't leave a small remnant of the pure in heart, the clean of hands, then Zion never would have had a hope of continuing. It would have been so unrecognizable, so unnoticed that it would not have been able to be found because of the vines that's covering. If you've ever noticed, nature has a way of hiding things that are left untended and uncared for. And this is what he's talking about: is the daughter of Zion has been left unattended and uncared for, and the vines have taken it over and hidden it, to where unless there was a remnant, Zion would have not been able to be found or recognized or identified. Okay. And then verse 10, hear the word of the Lord, you rulers of Sodom, give ear unto the law of our God, you people of Gomorrah. Basically, give heed, turn your ear towards what I'm saying. Pay attention. To what purpose is the multitude of your sacrifices unto me, saith the Lord? I am full of the burnt offerings of rams, the fat of fed beasts, and I delight not in the blood of bullocks or of lambs or of the he goats. When you come to appear before me, who has required this at your hand to tread in my courts? This took me back to Esther. When Esther went in to approach the king, if he did not hand out the scepter for her to touch, it would mean that she was unacceptable to him and she would have been killed, because you have to have the acceptance of the king in order to come into his courts. So in verse 11, when it talks about to what purpose is the multitude of your sacrifices, I kind of recognize this as a husband that is just tired. He's fed up with the wife. He no longer finds delight in her, and he just wants to be left alone. He doesn't want her bringing her little you know little dishes or little offerings, knowing that she doesn't love him, that she's out playing the harlot, and she doesn't take delight in her husband. She is not in the right position to honor and to love and respect her husband, but she's bringing these little dishes, just doing it out of duty and not out of love, not out of unity and oneness. And he's bored with her. Okay. And then when he talks about coming into his courts, like, who required this? I didn't ask you to come here. I didn't ask you to come into my space. I didn't request your presence. What brings you here? You obviously don't love me. You don't care about me. You don't want this relationship. So why are you here? Kind of thing. And yeah, I'm bringing this down so that we can understand it. We are humans. A lot of us are or have been in relationships that did not work. So let's look at God at the same aspect. He is a husband who loves his people, who loves us, and he's wounded because of unlove and undesire and being treated like he's unwanted by us. Um, and this isn't to everybody, but this is to the majority, So why are you showing up in the churches on Sundays? If you're just doing it out of duty, you don't want to be there. Why are you posing and pretending to be something that you're not before um, others, out of a sense of duty and not out of love and respect and admiration for your heavenly husband. And this goes to the men too. It's not just going to the women, it goes to the men too. Um, and then he talks about in verse 13, bring no more vain oblations. Incense is an abomination to me. The new moons, the Sabbaths, the calling of assemblies, I cannot wait with. I cannot away with. It is iniquity, even the solemn meeting. Meaning, why are you coming? Why do you keep coming to me? Why do you keep bringing this stuff to me? It's an abomination to me. I know I've lost the interest in it. Take it away. Basically clean yourself up, get yourself right. Don't come to me after you've been with him. Don't come to me after you've been with her. Don't come to me. Because it's an abomination. Go clean yourself. Go wash yourself. Go make yourself respectful. And um, representable, you know, to come into the presence of the Lord. Humble yourself, because basically what I'm getting here is there was no humility. It was all out of a sense of duty and pride and reputation, but it wasn't with the heart. And the Lord was like, yeah, no, it's an abomination. Take it away. I don't want it. And when you spread forth your hands, I will hide my eyes from you. Yea, when you make many prayers, I will not hear you. Your hands are full of blood. Basically, um, he knows if our hearts are far from him, if we're just saying the prayers to be saying the prayers. um when you lift up your hands, he's not gonna look at you. He's not gonna hear your prayers. Why? Because he's bored. He is like so over it. And God does do that. A lot of people will tell you, well, it doesn't matter what you pray or when you pray or how you pray. um, God will hear your prayers. Yeah, they'll go up, but they're going to be as sounding brass. I mean, clanging cymbals. If you've ever heard anybody just keep hitting the cymbals without a drum and a music, it's annoying. It gets like, just stop already. Um, our God is real. The living God, the Holy One of Israel is real. And just like you don't want somebody coming to you, um, disrespecting you only out of duty and not out of love and respect of the unity that you have with someone. Um, think about it in this aspect that your spouse cheated on you, and then they want to come to you and smile in your face and bring you a gift. Um, why would they bring you a gift? It's out of guilt, not out of love. Are you going to accept a guilt gift and make it okay just because, they gave you a little attention? Or are you going to be upset because they played the harlot, because um, they did what they did and they're not apologetic for it? There is no remorse and they don't really see what they did. That's kind of what this first chapter is about. And we do have a heavenly husband, our Father, and Lord Yeshua and the Holy Spirit that is there to help us, to guide us and direct us. And this first chapter is basically showing his heart. Like, he loves us. He definitely loves us. But all of us played the harlot. And even those that, will show up every Sunday or every time that the church doors are open, and leadership, and say, I've been in church my whole entire life. I've never missed a day of church, and I'm saved and sanctified and Holy Spirit filled. But are you? Are you? Just because you're there every time the doors open doesn't mean that you're saved. Doesn't mean you're right with the Holy One of Israel. Does not mean that your heart is pure, because you could be there every Sunday and look with the eyes of judgment on other people and gossip about them to your little clique. It don't mean just because you're there and you're in a position of leadership, standing on the wall, or, um, you know, doing whatever, doesn't mean that God has accepted you. So we really need to look at this. We need to look at our hearts, and we need to recognize who God is. He is not our best friend. He is not our pal. He is not our bud. He is not our boo. Um, he's, you know, he's not our BFF. Um, he's God, and he deserves that respect, And in this country, especially, we don't know how to respect the elders. We don't know how to respect one another. Wives, we don't know how to respect our husbands, and our husbands do not know how to respect us. So respect is very hard in this country. Middle Eastern people do understand respect. Those from Asian countries, they know about respect because that is their culture. But here in the United States, we don't. So respect is something that has to be taught very firmly. And I learned it when God started dealing with me on respect. There are just some things you don't do. And I just wanted to bring Isaiah chapter 1 and let y'all know that our God has a heart, and he loves. And by our actions, playing the harlot, you know, how do we play the harlot to God? Having other gods before him, not coming to him first, not having a personal one-on-one relationship, not seeking his guidance and advice first, not loving ourselves. I'm not talking about like pride and arrogance and, like uh, being selfish and being that person that has a complex to where you believe that you're better than everyone else and you're always looking down on someone. That's not the kind of love that I'm talking about. I'm talking about taking care of your body. I'm talking about knowing who you are, taking that mask off. I'm talking about loving the fact that you were created in such a way that science still doesn't understand how you were created, because you were created so wonderfully by the hands of the Maker, the Master, the living God. And then once you learn how to love yourself as a human being, then you can extend that love to another human being. And you can love God because now you know how to love yourself. That's what I'm talking about. Um, but if you can't love yourself and you're always talking to yourself hateful, um, and calling yourself names and beating yourself down, that's not love. It's not love. And in that, you can't love another person. And if you can't love another person, then you're not showing any love to God. So let's just think about that for a minute. Let's think about how our actions, our thoughts, our choices in our hearts, and the thoughts that we have, the things that we watch, the things that we listen to, is that committing adultery? Is that playing the harlot on the living God? Because we need to know that if we're hungry for money and we're not hungry for God, if we're not hungry for our time with the Lord, if we're not hungry to be in His presence, to just sit and soak in His presence and listen and hear what He has to say to us, if we don't take delight in His creation, in His sunrises, in nature, in the cool breezes in the middle of the summer, and the sound of the brook that's running, or the mighty Russian river, if we don't take delight in what He created to give us this beautiful place to live in. And I'm not talking about, uh, you know, like an activist who's like, well, you can't do this and you can't do that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about going outside and just enjoying the sound of nature, the way that the the birds sing, the way that, birds fly around and butterflies flitter, and taking in the beauty and the scent of the flowers. The ground. Have you ever stood on bare grass with your bare feet and just kind of just felt it just for a moment? Sit in the yard and just Take it in for a moment. God created all this. He created this ground that we're living on, and nobody can tell you any different. So just take it in for a moment. Breathe it in and just really think about what God has given you. He's given you the breath in your lungs. He's given you, wherever you're at, He's given you you. So take care of you. Don't be selfish with you. Love you. Take care of you. Take care of, um, do some self-love. Love on you. Love on you. Love on you first. And that doesn't mean spa days or expensive clothes or going shopping for a new bag. It means just sitting for a moment and accepting you. Accept you. You're one of a kind. There's no one else like you. You are the mold of you, and there's no one else like you. You have a lot to bring. We have a lot to learn from you, just like we have a lot to learn from other people. So love on you. Take a moment and accept you. Tell yourself something good about yourself a couple times during the day. And when you pass by the mirror, greet yourself. Greet yourself in a positive way because God created you. And if you can't respect you, if you can't love you first, if you can't be comfortable in your own skin, then that's where you need to start on your relationship with God. Okay? So let's check ourselves. Let's not be the harlots. Let's not be the bride that Messiah has lost interest in. And he's no longer found delight in us. Let's be the bride that he delights in. That when he hears our name, his eyes light up. And he's like, I know that one. Okay? Because that's the goal, to be known by him. Okay? So that's my spill on Isaiah chapter 1. I hope y'all have a wonderful, wonderful day. Love y'all. Bye.